Hey. Awesome. Can you hear me okay? Hey, Kay Whitlow from North Carolina. How are you this week? I wanted to make sure my smells are coming. My smells are coming. CBP, we have people logging in. I want to give you guys a chance to get in so we can get into the nitty gritty. Make sure you say hey. Let me know where you're from. I see Kay Whitlow in the house from North Carolina. Hey. Who else do we have? Good. Is it warm? Is it raining? What's the weather in North Carolina today? It's hot in Ohio. Hot. Awesome. It's hot. Okay. It's hot there too. I mean, hot, hot, right? It's humid and hot here. So it's, ugh. Ugh. So I'm giving some chance, folks, to ready to get in. And as you guys know, today we are going to take part two from our conversation last week. Last week we focused on answering your startup questions as it related specifically to your communication systems, your phone, your address, your email. I get so many questions about that. I felt like it was important to answer those questions separately. And I wasn't able to really get into some of the general starting your business questions that I receive. And I wanted to take an opportunity this week to do just that. So I've got a whole list of questions that I have received over the days, weeks, and months. I get them in my Instagram DMs. I get them in my Facebook, instant messengers and direct messages. I get email messages from you guys. And obviously I get questions here on CPTV. And I want to take this opportunity to kind of address some of those questions, answer them, but also be available to answer your questions that you have. So make sure that you get your questions together and that you are able to shoot them in the chat. The chat is live. I can see it. I got kind of a nice setup here. So I'm excited to have you guys with me. We also have Outfit Rap League, Blessings from Michigan, Savage, Not Heathen. All right. Firecracker Boom. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love it. Welcome everyone as you continue to come in. I see folks joining. This is CPTV, of course. I am CP, and this is the place that you will come to get all of the tips, the tools, the resources, my step-by-step strategies, on all the things that you need in order to set up, start, and grow a successful business. I'm a true believer that entrepreneurship is the most beneficial, accurate, and quickest way to freedom. And I've been an entrepreneur, as you guys know, if you're avid CBTV watchers, I've been an entrepreneur now for almost 25 years, a little over 25 years. I think I'm aging myself. And I have started over 5 businesses in my career. Currently am the CEO of 2 businesses, and I've had brick and mortars all the way to online businesses. And now I really do focus on my startup entrepreneurs, especially more recently over the last 18 months, in giving you the step-by-step guidance and holding your hand as you take that leap of faith into entrepreneurship. Everybody needs someone to hold their hand. I wish I had it 25 years ago. I probably would have lost a lot less money than I did just winging it and trying to figure it out on my own, because that's really the most frustrating part, isn't it? Winging it sucks. It's overwhelming. It's stressful. It slows you down. It messes with your mind, your mentality. And today I'm going to get into a lot of those questions that I've received over the past few months. Even some of them are up to a year ago, but I thought that they were important because I think that they're questions that a lot of you probably have out there. And then also wanted to answer the question that I get all the time: how can we work together? How can I take your hand and kind of take that leap of faith with you? So welcome. Hi, Cookie. My day is going pretty good. It has been a crazy, crazy day. Believe it or not, I was here in the office working last night until 2 a.m. Yes, 2 a.m. Call me crazy. I know. But I was here because I was really focused on putting the finishing touches on what I mentioned and kind of alluded to last week, which is the Startup Academy membership program. I am super duper excited about this program because I've been trying to figure out a way for the last 18 months of how I could take my one-on-one coaching program, where I work with entrepreneurs one-on-one on every single step of starting their business and launching their business, I've been trying to figure out how to make it a more cost-effective, more affordable solution where I still get to work with folks, especially startup entrepreneurs. They don't have to be on a wait list because my coaching program is wait list based. It's application based. I only work one-on-one with a handful of entrepreneurs in a year. And it's not, cheap. It is an expensive program to work with me one-on-one. So I've been trying to figure out a way to take that and make it more affordable so that people can still get that training and coaching and get to work with me one-on-one so I can impact more entrepreneurs. And the Startup Business Academy membership program is that solution. And I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But let's dive into the questions. And I see some questions coming in, so we will definitely get into it, and make sure that you put them in the chat. I will be taking a moment to take a look at them. Hey, what's up, everybody? And website, absolutely. I've got some website questions in here, Cookie, so I will be addressing that for you as well. And if you've got specific questions about your website, please make sure you let me know. Website is really kind of step 5 in the 6 steps for setting up your business. And I kind of want to answer the questions in order today of what I truly believe and what I found over the years is the best step-by-step process to make. So the first thing I want to get into is step number 1, right? Step number 1 in setting up your business. And believe it or not, it is mindset. I can tell you right now that my very first business, when I started it, I was maybe a little over 20 years old, close to 21. And my mindset was not in an entrepreneurial space. And because my mindset wasn't, I was still in that 9 to 5 mentality. I still believed that I was working for someone else. It prevented me from really looking at my business as even a full-time opportunity. So for my very first business, I think for about 3 years, my business was really in my mind a side gig. It was an extra income earning opportunity. It was a way for me to make extra money and control my schedule. But in my mind, I was still a 9 to 5 employee. And that stopped me. It prevented me from moving forward. It prevented me from growing. And it prevented me from taking the necessary steps to actually get my business started. So I didn't even have a deadline for when I was going to leave. I didn't do any of that stuff. I was just kind of like, oh, well, I work for somebody, but this is my side gig. This is my extra money. And that was really the first step. So I want to dive into some mindset questions. Hey, Kim, how are you? Nice to see you tonight. I want to dive into some mindset questions that I have received, which I think are important. So if you've got some mindset questions, go ahead and put them in, because it really is a big deal. When I say mindset, I mean wrapping your arms around what it really takes to get yourself in the mentality of being comfortable outside of what you feel is stability, because that's really the biggest thing that we deal with. And then the second biggest thing is time management, prioritizing, procrastinating, managing all that stuff, overcoming the tiredness, the exhaustion. How do you balance both when you still have your regular 9 to 5 and you are trying to start a business? And mindset also gets you around what your why is. Why do you want to do this? What do you want to do? What's your purpose? Because that is the business that you really need to focus on creating for yourself and for starting. And so diving into one of my very first mindset questions that I received is, let me get to it right now. That way you guys can put some in there as well. All right, here we go. So this is from Justin. I don't know if you're watching today, Justin, or if you're on, but this is your question. One of the biggest learning curves I've come across in becoming an entrepreneur is understanding the skills needed as a business owner and CEO. It is completely new skill set. And for so long, I only needed the skills to fulfill a small position within a company. But now, being at the mountaintop, I'm learning about process development and mapping. I'm learning about leadership. I'm learning about communication skills. What would you say is the most important mindset skill of those that I need to balance and understand in order to really develop that business owner CEO skill set? And that's a great question, Justin. So to answer that question, I would probably say the number one mental space that you have to be in when you are trying to develop that business owner CEO mindset is, aside from the tenacity and the longevity, it's really time management, it's organization. And it's also recognizing that this is a marathon. You cannot quit. You cannot quit. You cannot be afraid to move forward even with imperfect action, right? You can't be afraid to make mistakes, and you have to understand that you're going to learn from those mistakes. The biggest reason why I see people's business fail is because they have these unreasonable expectations of how quickly things are supposed to happen. And if they have a product or a service that they're selling, and that product and service doesn't sell $1 million right off the rip, or if they only have 1 or 2 sales, they don't look at those things as wins. They look at those things as failures. And that causes you to say to yourself, I am not good at this. This isn't going to work. This isn't a good product. My idea sucks. And it doesn't have to mean that your idea sucks. It could simply mean that we need to tweak your marketing or your messaging. You need to grow an audience and build more things. You need to understand your ICA. There's different things that you can do inside your business that doesn't clue you into saying that your business overall was a bad idea, right? So if you've gotten 1 or 2 sales from doing your business idea or hyping or hustling your business idea, that's a sign that there are people out there who want to buy what you have to offer. And that's kind of a beta. Think of it as a beta group. If you've been doing your business idea for free for any amount of time and people have offered to pay you for it, or you've gotten a little bit of money from it, that's a sign that there are people out there who want what you have and will actually pay for it. That's the beginning. Whether it's 1 sale, whether it's 2 sales, the sign is someone's going to buy it. Someone's willing to pay you for it. And so that's an idea that you need to move forward with and adopt and begin to go through the rest of the steps. So that's a big piece of your mindset. And then I mentioned time management. And I know it's something that a lot of us struggle with. And trust me, it has been a marathon for me to learn how to juggle, various aspects of my life. And running 2 businesses, and you guys know, being a mom, being a wife, and I'm a daughter who currently takes care of her parents, the time management piece is critical. I've done a time management boot camp for a while over the last few years. And originally it was a paid product. In order for you to get into it, you had to pay for it. And then I did it as a free boot camp last year. I had some amazing students in that boot camp. And for 5 days, I taught them all of the things that I've learned over the years and adopted in order to be able to manage my time better, to be organized, to know what I've got to do, to set deadlines for doing it, and to also hold myself accountable for actually getting it done so procrastination doesn't kick in. Those are all critical skill sets and mindset skills that you have to be a successful entrepreneur, especially when you're starting. Because typically when you're starting, you're juggling multiple things in your life. You're juggling your business, and you're juggling most likely a gig, a full-time gig, or some type of other job that you're working. And so being able to manage your time and not waste time is absolutely critical. I know I've got several videos that I've already done on CPs, 3Ps for time management success. I will go ahead and link to that video once this goes for the replay in case you're watching it on the replay, but I will also make sure that I put that video link in the chat. I think I've got some of my team members here that are helping me moderate. If you guys could get that in the chat, that would be great to let me know if you're having a hard time, at least linking to that video. But if you go on to CPTV and you search time management, all of those videos will come up. And then also the time management bootcamp, I am very excited to say, is automatically included when you enroll as a Startup Academy member. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later as well. It's included for you. It's a bonus that I'm giving all members of the Startup Academy. And it is a membership. And we will be working together as a family very, very closely every single day and every single month for as long as you need it. So those are the 2 big skills, I would say, from a time management perspective that you really need to focus on perfecting and developing in order to be a boss CEO. So hopefully that answered your question, Justin. Let's take a quick peek and see if I've got any questions in there for it. Hi, Courtney, how are you? Let's see. Got any mindset questions in there? All right, no, well, let's move on to step number 2. And step number 2, as you guys know, it's kind of a business planning, growth planning, but really doing your research. Once you have that business idea, doing the research to solidify it, doing the research to know to move forward with it. And I've got a question that came to me about, when do you know, this is from Max, when do you know that the business idea that you have come up with is a good one that people will actually buy? When do you know? Max, that's a great question. When do you know? there's multiple steps, right? So you have a business idea. I always tell people that you've got to do your research to solidify that idea before you'll know. And you can have that idea because you may be your ideal customer or you may have experienced something yourself. But once you start diving into the deep, deep abyss and pool of doing the research around your competitors, so knowing who they are, understanding their strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities that exist, and the threats. And when I say your competitors, I mean folks who are doing or providing services or products that are very similar to yours. They're in your zone, they're in your industry. So if you are an e-commerce store and you're going to be selling products online, you want to find, and not just any product, if you're going to be selling candles online or clothing online, you want to find other folks who are doing that. It could be someone that you're already aware of that maybe you've been following and learning from. You've got to dive deep and figure out where their strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats are. When you get that information, it'll help you be able to make that decision, right? Information is power, and that's what the research is all about. You also have to research to know if it's a good idea, how much it's going to take to start this business. And I get into this conversation a lot with folks because oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we have these ideas, right, in our head. And the idea that we have is really the business that we want 10 years from now. It's the end game business. We have to recognize that we may not be able to afford putting together that end game business, right? Putting that end game business in place right now. We may have to take small baby steps to get to that end game business. And so that research piece of how much it's really going to cost to get to that end game business will help you know if it's a good idea. The idea is based around whether or not you can find a place to fit in, whether there is a need in the market for what you have, whether or not there are customers out there who will buy and pay for what you have, and also whether or not you can afford to start it, whether it's going to be too expensive. So I talk to entrepreneurs who want to know how they're going to get business funding. And I say, well, how much business funding do you need? How much do you think you need? And they're like, well, I don't know. That's a clear indication to me that you haven't done the research yet because you don't know how much it's truly going to cost. What are you going to need to successfully market, sell, and service whatever your idea is? What are you really going to need? And I need you to put that budget together. Now, in the Startup Academy, I go through this training with folks and we put together the startup budget. And sometimes we put it together and they're like, at the end of the day, this idea that I have is going to require a $200,000 loan. As a startup entrepreneur, it is going to be very, very, very difficult for you to secure $200,000 in a loan. Now, I'm not saying that you won't be able to get $200,000 together because then you can start going to investors, then you can start asking family and friends, you can contribute yourself. But how long is it going to take you to get to that $200,000 with the resources and the tools that you have in order to be able to get to that end game business? So what I typically say is, all right, so your end game business needs $200,000 to run. Great. What can we do right now to bring that cost down, but still start to put your product and service out there into the market so that the revenue can start coming in and your business can begin to grow and run itself, right? So what can we do? Perfect example. I have a, thank you so much, guys. Somebody from my team just put in the time management link for you. So if you want to check out time management videos, there's also tools in there that you can grab, you can download, and you'll also become a part of the CP Insider list. But there are freebies that are included in that video. So make sure you check it out. But you know, for me, she came to me and she had this vision, and it was an amazing business idea that involved a brick and mortar spa type of setting. And that was the initial idea. Now, I already had different ideas in my mind around where we could tweak that vision because I didn't want to take away from her why or her purpose. I didn't want to take away from her mission or her vision, but I did want to take away from the fact that we put some research together. I said, here's all the research. And I gave her a bunch of videos. This is how you do it. Watch these videos, learn exactly how to do this research, learn what information to gather so that you don't get caught in an information overload and information overwhelm, which causes you to become paralyzed, right? Because we've all done that. We can learn and learn and learn and learn until now we done confused ourselves so damn much that we don't even know if we've learned anything or what we've learned, right? So I trained her on exactly what to look for. And a big piece of that was putting together this startup budget. At the end of the research process, which took us about, I would say 3 weeks to a month to complete because we had a couple of calls during that time, the budget came back where she was going to need about a $270,000 influx of cash to even start the business. And what did that do? Of course, that depressed her, that stressed her out, and it made her feel like her idea was the wrong idea. And I said, no, your idea is amazing. We've already found out through our research that there are weaknesses out there, that there's opportunities out there, that you can capitalize, that you have a unique impact proposition that you can bring to the table. So it's not a bad idea. It fulfills your why. It allows you to really live in your purpose. It allows you to live your lifestyle. The business model idea that you have might not be a good business idea. So we decided to bring it back, right? And I said, we need to find a cost-effective way to roll out this idea. And we ultimately ended up with providing something similar that people can purchase online to get her started. And then ultimately, as the revenue grew and people could make online purchases, which was a very profitable opportunity because it was a very low-cost business to start. So instead of having a brick and mortar place where people could come and have children's parties, let's package up children's parties so that people can have them on their own. They can purchase them from you. You can make sure that the party ideas are good. You can test it. You can make some money and grow that revenue base. So sometimes it's just about tweaking. And that's why step 2 is step 2. That's when you will know that the idea is a good one, after you've done the research and you are comfortable with everything that you have discovered. And that's why the second step before you move forward with anything else is research the business idea, streamline what your model is going to look like, and then you can move forward with step 3. And step 3 is one of my favorite steps. So I'm going to get into some questions about step 3 right now, which is officially setting it up, right? So this is where your LLC registration comes in, or your business registration, your tax ID, setting up your communication systems, setting up your financial systems, and figuring out the initial sales processes and things like that, which, I've kind of broken off into a step 4, but that's where you get into step 3, picking your name, solidifying it, claiming your domain, claiming your brand. That's where officially getting your infrastructure set up is. And that is where so many of my questions lie. So I'm going to do a quick check in here real quick and see if we've got any questions about step 3, which is setting the business up. We do. We've got some banking questions. I'm going to get to you right now, Outfit Wrap League. I'm going to get to you. So one of the questions that I've gotten so many times is, do I need, or when should I get an S-Corp, right? When should I get an S-Corp? Now, first things first, I want to make sure that you guys are aware I have done a video that is how to structure and register your business, right? How to structure and register your business. I'll ask Team CP to put that in there, that link to that video in there. Setting up and structuring your business is one of my favorite videos because in that video, I actually interview an attorney and a certified public accountant to talk about the differences in all of the different business types. Because LLC is obviously popular. It was created in many, many states in order to help give you a feel of a sole proprietorship, but also give you the liability protection of a corporation without the double taxation issue, right? So it's a great business model. But there is a point in your business career where you may convert that LLC for tax purposes. And that is how my experience with regards to an S-Corp. This question came from AP. So AP, if you are watching, I'm about to tell you, do I need, or when should I get an S-Corp? All right. There comes a time in everyone's business journey where I do believe an S-Corp becomes more beneficial for you as a business than having an LLC. Now, I want to be clear. Your business can be registered with your state initially as an LLC, right? And we get into this in that video that I mentioned to you. So the attorney really walks you through it, and so does the CPA, because those are the people that really give you the information that you need to determine what your business structure should be, right? They specialize in that. You can start your business as an LLC. And once it gets to a certain amount of revenue, it simply becomes more beneficial to request from the IRS taxation as an S-Corp, right? That's the difference. Taxation as an S-Corp. And in that video, we kind of get into that as well. And I think I've even answered this question in a different video, but I want to make sure I address when that is. I had a business that I've since sold, which was an amazing experience as well. So if you got any questions about selling your business, let me know. I got the answer to that too. I've been through that. It was terrifying, but it was amazing to experience. So there came a time in that business that I sold that I started it as an LLC. And I started it out as an LLC because I wanted to have business liability protection. I wanted it to be an official business. So I started my LLC. About 18 months in, my accountant came to me after I was submitting information about my taxes. And he said, we have to evaluate whether or not we still want to be taxed as an LLC. And the biggest reason is, when you are an LLC, your taxes are attached to your personal tax statement. So you basically do a Schedule C on your taxes. And that means that you will be taxed on any profit from the business. You will also receive the expenses or the deductions for any losses on the business. So if you have an LLC and you're losing money, you're not showing profit, you're actually spending more than you're making, which is very, very common in your first few years, then it's beneficial because on your personal tax return, if you're still earning income from another job, it's going to bring down that income bracket for you. So it's going to mean that you owe less taxes. But at this point in my business, I was profiting. Okay, we were seeing a profit. So what was happening was my extra $50,000 in profit, and I think that was the number. It was like $50,000 in profit. That means after all my expenses, my business expenses that come out, the company was still making 50 grand. That showed on my Schedule C as additional income, right? So now my tax bracket has gone up, it has changed, and that $50,000, I not only had to pay taxes on from a personal perspective, I also had to pay self-employment tax on that. So I was almost double taxed. Self-employment tax, say your taxes, let's just give you a roundabout number because not everybody's in the same thing, is 15.6%. Then usually when you work for somebody else as a W-2, your employer is paying half and you're paying half. That's how that works. Your employer is paying half and you're paying half. When you have an LLC with $50,000 worth of profit, I don't have an employer paying half on that. So I'm responsible for that full 15.6%. which is that self-employment tax. So at that point, my accountant said, we are profiting, and we are profiting pretty significantly. I think it's time for us to begin to register this business and to register this business with the IRS as an S corporation. And the S corporation does require that you begin to pay yourself compensation as a W-2 employee. That is the one rule in an S Corp. So when people ask me if they should start their business as an S Corp, if you're starting as a business owner, if you start as an S Corp, you are required to compensate yourself a regular salary. And if you're just starting and you're not making any money, you are not going to want to have to do that. You're going to want the flexibility of not having to pay yourself until your business gets where it needs to go, right? But if you start out the RIP as an S Corp, you're paying yourself a salary. So your business needs to be having enough revenue for you to be able to afford to pay yourself a salary. Now, the other question that I get is, how much of a salary, right? How much? There's no real true specific number that you really will have. The IRS just says you have to pay yourself what they deem as reasonable income for a CEO. You hear what I said? What they deem as reasonable. Reasonable is way too gray. So I'm not saying that you can say, okay, well, I'll pay myself $500 a month. $12,000 a year may not be deemed as reasonable by the IRS. So then they think that you're being an S Corp and you're only paying yourself that so that you can get all of the tax benefits. Because again, you're not paying self-employment tax on anything that you're not paying yourself. You get where that's going? So there is a time when you should convert for IRS purposes, for tax purposes, to an S Corp. Absolutely. When you get to a point where your revenue makes more sense, for instead of you personally paying self-employment and other taxes, you will ultimately be receiving a W-2 as your own W-2 employee. And that is a certain income. I think for me, He talked to me about it at about 50,000. I was terrified because I was like, what if I really ain't making 50,000? He was like, no, you can pull the reasonable income for yourself out of the $50,000 profit. Then you're only paying taxes on what's left of that profit, right? And then, your W-2. And I was nervous. So I waited until I had about $100,000 in profit before I changed and converted to S-Corp. And at S-Corp, then I put myself on salary as a W-2 employee, and I wasn't doing that double taxation. So hopefully that answers your question. I, again, as a disclaimer, am not an attorney. I am not an accountant, but that's been my experience. And I've learned a lot about that, because if you guys know anything about me, I can't have nobody working with me or on my team or working for me if I don't know what I'm talking about. So I had to learn a lot about it even after that recommendation. And now I'm equipped to make those decisions in every single business. So now it's like, all right, this business over here, I'm making this much profit. I need to switch my tax status over to an S-Corp. I need to register as an S-Corp with the IRS. But you don't want to do that too soon. So that's the answer to your question. I recommend, and I like an LLC to start, and I like an S-Corp when you can convert that. Once you do, you got to get that done. And there's rules around. There's a special form that you file. I think it's an 8853 or something like that form with the IRS. And don't quote me on that, y'all. I don't even know if that's the real form, but it might be. So I'm pretty good at remembering numbers. But definitely consult in your business with a tax professional to make that decision when it's your best call. But that's kind of the definition there. Also, business banking questions. I get those. So this is in step 3. This is where you would set it up. So let me go back through, because I do remember Outfit Rap League, you had a question for me. Looking for an online bank. You heard about Novo. Oh, I think I have your question in here as well. You heard about Novo, but I do not like some of their regulations. Wondering if you had any suggestion on online banking. I really trust your opinion. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm about to keep it real with you. I understand that having an online bank is an option, especially nowadays. And I also understand that most of your banking is probably done online. And I do believe that online banks are an option, right? I do. But only if you have the opportunity to develop relationships with a banker. That is why I generally have not adopted an online bank as any of my business banking accounts, because I believe as a business, you will have so many opportunities as you grow and so many needs as you grow to get money, credit, business loans, access to PPP. For instance, this whole thing came down in PPP. PPP, right? Not PPE. PPP came down. My PPP process was so easy because I have a very close relationship with my business banker. And that is because my bank is a it's a national bank, but it's a brick and mortar. I can develop that relationship. I have someone's business card. I, can call them when I need to do something. I can call them when I need to switch money in between. If I had, like when I sold my business, that was a wire transfer type of situation. I needed my business banker all day long, every day. And so that's why I haven't really done an online bank, right? Now, I know that Capital One has an online bank. I've looked into theirs. I believe that their business banking doesn't allow for certain aspects. I've heard of all the different regulations that you mentioned. So I can't recommend an online bank for you, because I just don't think that they're going to grow with you, right? I do, however, think that when I say choosing a business bank, there's a couple things that I look for when I chose a business, and I've got 2 different business banks. I've got business bank accounts in 2 different banks. But in both of those banks, I also have my personal accounts. And the reason is I like the ease and the convenience of being able to log in online onto an app or on a computer and have access to all my money that's everywhere. And especially when you're starting, you may need to be able to transfer money between accounts. You may need to take out an owner's draw in one of your accounts to pay yourself something. You may need to deposit money into your business bank account in order to take care of an expense. So I chose for me, and it also based upon the fees. I chose which ones were crazy about fees and had different benefits in them. And a lot of them have kind of the same things right now. I do say stay away from credit unions when it comes to business banking. In my experience, I can't speak for everybody else. Somebody else out there might be like, you might own a credit union and it might be great. But for business banking purposes, I've not found good success with a credit union because I did try that. I do still have a credit union that I keep, personal savings and stuff in. But from a business banking perspective, I just did not have the leeway that I needed, nor could I grow in that business banking relationship. So whatever bank you choose, like for me in our area, Huntington Bank is a great business bank. Chase Bank is a national bank. That's where I have a lot of my business accounts. And I also have business accounts in Citizens Bank. Some of them have different fees. Some of them require different stuff. A lot of them, I know Huntington recently came out with a business bank account that has 0 fees, but there aren't a lot of branches. But in all 3 of those scenarios, my point is I have a relationship with a business banker. That was the most important thing for me. So if you can find an online bank that meets your criteria and you can develop a relationship with a person, then I would say go for it. That's really what you want to look for. And maybe the best way to do this for you, Outfit, is make a list. Just sit down, take a deep breath, get a glass of wine. That's how I like to make my list, y'all. Get a glass of wine and just begin to write out all the things that you are looking for in a bank, and make sure on that list you include relationship opportunities. Because I can call my business banker and say, I need a business line of credit. And she's going to be able to pull up all my information, just like with PPP. She was able to pull up everything and almost complete the application for me because we've had that relationship for so long. So my business banker has almost become a member of my team. And that's why it's so important that I'm telling you this. So make a list of all the stuff that you're looking for, right? Make a list of all the things that you want and all the things that you don't want, and begin on that journey to figure out where that bank is going to best be. But I would say start with where you have your personal accounts. Start there, right? It's going to be easier for you, and that relationship is going to be so critical. So hopefully I was able to answer that question for you and you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments, all right? Okay, so I'm going to get into right now another question that's in this. A business bank do I recommend? I had another question, so that was a really good one. I think I answered that, Jordan, as well. Let's see. Okay. Registered agent, I get lots of questions. Can I do a video about using registered agents for LLC formation or agent for service of process for S-Corp, please? Thank you. Aisha, I don't know if you're watching today. I don't think I can see it just yet if you are. But I did answer this question in a video that I did a few weeks ago about registered agents and what they are, who they are, why you need them, who you should choose, what they mean. And really, to answer your question, agent for service of process for your S-Corp. The agent for service of process and your registered agent for an LLC, it's the same person. They do the same thing. That's the person that's going to be available to collect your business documents for you. And I'm going to definitely encourage you, if we have Team CP that's still on, if you can add that link in the chat and in the comments as well, because I want to make sure you guys can check out that video. I get really detailed and really in-depth into the registered agent thing, because that was a stressor for me, y'all. I mean, it was stressful. I didn't know who to pick, what to do. My first business, I picked the wrong one. I picked the ex-husband. See that long moment of silence, y'all? I picked the ex-husband as my agent, and then I lost that business because he was on there as the agent, and it's a long, long, long story. But talk about mistakes, right? So it was critical. I learned so much about it, and that video should be able to answer it for you. But yes, the registered agent for LLC versus the agent for service of process, it's the same person. It's just because one is an S-Corp and one is an LLC, and hopefully I answered your question about whether or not you should even do the S-Corp right off the rip, right? Hopefully I answered that question for you. I don't like to make decisions for you guys. That is not my job. I don't do that in my coaching. I don't do that in my training. I give you all the information that you need clearly, succinctly, and based on experience so that you can make your own decision. Because my goal as a coach is to empower you to become a better CEO. I have said this a million times. I have had businesses that have sold all kinds of products. And the one thing that has made me successful every single time is that I know how to start and run businesses. I don't care what your product or service is. And as an entrepreneur, if you're just starting out right now, the business idea that you have, because you're an entrepreneur, you're probably going to have 10 or 100 more. 100 more. And it's going to be a different product or a different service because your interests will change, your passions will change, your purpose will change, your lifestyle goals will change as you get older. You want to be able to start a business no selling, right? It's the same process. So my job is to empower you and teach you how to be a CEO, how to be an entrepreneur, so that if you want to sell candles this year and you want to sell cars and make them 20 years from now, it doesn't matter because the business structure is the business structure is the business structure, right? That's always my goal. And so let's say, look, we got another question here about, you're welcome for that info, Cookie. So yes, you've made no profit. However, you do have expenses. Absolutely. Those should be tied to your business bank account. So that's in step 3, right? You get your EIN. You got to get your EIN and your tax ID. That's the same thing. I know some people call it EIN. Some people call it tax ID. I have a video where I talk about walking you through how to do that. And I definitely actually do a screen share and show you in the Startup Academy how to do that. You get your EIN, you set up your business bank account. And the third step in setting up your financial systems is connecting that business bank account to financial software. I know people are like, do I have to pay for software? It is a big fat yes, you do. You do not, unless you are an accountant or a CPA yourself and you like to use those books and do everything manually. And if you are a CPA or an accountant, you probably don't like to do that. So I'm probably just preaching to the choir. But after you get the business bank account, you have got to get your financial software connected to that business bank account. So one of the questions that I get is, what financial software do I recommend? You guys have heard me say this before, I'm sure. I recommend QuickBooks. I recommend QuickBooks. And the reason why I recommend QuickBooks is because I've tried other ones, Honeybook, I've tested other ones. They all have different positives, right? Bottom line in QuickBooks is this. While there may be other softwares and financial softwares out there that are cheaper to use and that might seem a little bit more user-friendly, how will you be able to grow when you finally want to delegate that task? And the reason why I'm asking you that is because you are going to be hard-pressed to find a bookkeeper, a CPA, an accountant that's going to manage your books or do your reports for you or do your taxes. You're going to be hard-pressed to find one that doesn't know how to use QuickBooks. Hard-pressed. You do not want to put yourself in a situation where you are using software that nobody else has ever heard of, nobody else has ever used, and can't nobody help you with, right? So yeah, QuickBooks is QuickBooks. I mean, I use QuickBooks Online because the software updates come. It's like a monthly subscription, just like everything else. If you can pay for Netflix and you're serious about your business, you can pay for QuickBooks. I don't want to hear nothing else about that, y'all. Because if you got Netflix, I don't want to hear nothing about I can't afford QuickBooks. Prioritize, right? Prioritize. And that will be an expense. Once you tie that software to it, Cookie, QuickBooks will do a pull. It will pull your transactions out of your bank account for you. So all of the transactions that are in your bank account will pull into your financial software. And every single month, you'll see what they are. And you will be able to go in and put all of those expenses into categories. And those categories are what's going to track where your operating expenses are coming from, whether it's a cost of goods or services sold expense, and where your P&Ls come out. Once you get that into QuickBooks, you can pull your profit and loss statements every single day if you want to, as long as it's updated. So those are the 3 primary steps, and you want to track your expenses. It's okay if you have more expenses than you do revenue in the very beginning. So don't feel, Cookie, like you are out there on your own, right? Because most likely you will, especially if you're just starting. The best way to generate income is to make partner contributions to that. And I did a video more recently on the entire process, like the financial processes and systems. And I talk about, how to fund your business when you're first starting, how to come up with your first like $10,000 to fund your business. and keeping it real with you, because before you can get business credit and business loans and any of that other stuff, you have to show financial activity in your business. Banks, people, credit need to see that you've got financial activity. And if you don't have a business bank account and you don't have financial software set up, they can't see that. They're not going to take your personal bank statements and say, oh, this, you see this right here? I know this says, you know, I went to the gas station, but right next to it, that's a business account. That they're not going to give you any money. You have no credibility. You ain't going to get nowhere. So the earlier that you establish financial activity as a business, the better for your chances to actually secure funding. And even from a personal perspective, I've had people come to me and ask me to invest in their business. I'm like, let me see your financials for the last 30 days. I just want to see 30 days. I'm not even asking for 2 years like a lot of places will. Give me 30 days. And they're like, oh, well, I don't have none. I do everything by Cash App. Okay, that's cool. Well, when you get your financial statements together and I can actually see what this business looks like on paper, I might give you some money. But until then, I ain't giving you nothing. And your mama, your aunties, they probably gonna tell you that too. So start some financial activity, all right? Start that financial activity and you will get that going. Let me take a look right here real quick. And I'm gonna check here too. So go ahead and put your questions in. Got some customer service that's getting into process. So that's gonna be step 4. I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. Okay, here's one. Hey there, Cheryl. I'm just now getting my business set up. So excited. Let me see who's this from. Kathy. Kathy, perfect. Hey there, Cheryl. I'm just now getting my business set up. So excited. I love your videos. Oh, I love you too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm taking lots of notes. I wanted to see if you had a video about how to pay yourself out of your profits. Is there a percentage or process for that? Thank you so much for your time and compassion towards helping people. Sincerely, Kathy. Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. First, let me tell you, thank you for watching. Thank you all for watching and, you know, really helping me walk in my purpose and helping me do what I love to do. I always get the comment that I've got so much energy. And a big part of the reason is because I'm so passionate about helping people become entrepreneurs. I think if we had a world full of million-dollar business owners, we'd have a whole lot less stress and a whole lot less crime, because everybody'd be happy, right? So I am pumped about that. I did do a video on how to pay yourself as an entrepreneur. So make sure you check that out, Kathy, if you're watching. But I do follow a formula for how I pay myself out of my profits. The first piece, though, the first big piece is to know when you have profit. Because if your expenses are outweighing your revenue, you don't have profit yet. But when you do, I really do follow a formula. It's a 50-30-20 formula. I've mentioned that before in a video. And in essence, 50% of my profits stay in the business and they get reinvested back. I set aside 30% for any team development. So in essence, that's getting getting put back into the business. And then I allow myself to pay myself based on 20%. And I use the percentages because as my business makes more revenue, my money goes up. You know, so I don't give myself a flat amount. I tie myself to a percentage because it allows for flexibility. So, but check out the video. I get into a lot of detail in there as well. So hopefully you can check that out, Kathy. And I'm going to look in here now and see. Let's see. Yes. Okay. What do you think about? What do you think about NAV? NAV. Oh, personal experience with Navy Federal. I don't have personal experience with Navy Federal. I am aware of them. Both of my older brothers are in the Navy. Well, actually, both of them have retired from the Navy. So I am familiar with Navy Federal, but I don't have personal experience with them. So they may be, you know, what I found with credit unions is what makes their rate so good, what makes them so, you know, great and inexpensive, and that personal touch and how they keep their expenses low is that you don't get a lot of features and conveniences with them. And so that's a part of the reason why I stay away from them for business purposes, because I need all the convenience, all the reporting, all the connection, all the stuff that I can get from a business perspective. But I do, like I said, have a credit union that I use personally because for my personal stuff, because I don't need all the same stuff. So, but Navy Federal may be different. They may be, you know, top of the art, top of the line with apps and technology and wiring and merchant services. They may have all of those things. And the reason why I say those things is because you never want to make a decision in the beginning of your business setup that is going to prevent you from growing. Everything that I teach and that I tell you is because my hindsight right, is your 2020 vision. So you don't even know yet where you're going to end up. You don't even know what you're going to need into the future. So what I'm teaching you allows you to grow into that seven-figure business. Nobody starts the business to only make $100,000 or to only be six figures. Nobody does that. We all started because we want to have seven-figure, eight-figure, nine-figure, businesses. And it's very difficult to grow if you don't get it put in place in time. And I shouldn't say it's not impossible. You can definitely do it. I've done it, but it will cost you extra money and it will be a lot more traumatic. So now that I know what I know in order to grow, I set my businesses up like that from the very beginning. And that's what I focus on teaching you guys. So that's kind of the answer to that question for you. How do I retro all of my business expenses if I have a bunch of receipts? Yeah. Leonard, you're going to have to get a glass of wine. Get your financial software set up. Go back to those 3 steps. You still got to do that. EIN, tax ID, business bank, financial software, right? All those 3 things. And you're going to have to sit down with a glass of wine and pull out all those receipts and put them in. That's what you're going to have to do. You got to go back. You got to put them in. QuickBooks does have an app on your phone that you can take pictures of receipts and it should bring them in. So that is also an option, which I've not used because I don't keep business receipts. That's a newer app since I've been using QuickBooks. I don't keep business receipts because, again, I use my business banking account for expenses. I use my debit card or I use my bill pay through business banking, and I use my business credit card if I have to, and I ultimately track everything. So QuickBooks pulls all of it. I don't even use my personal stuff when it's a business expense. So I don't have receipts anymore. I have no need for them because they're being tracked already. But you can do that, Leonard. You can get you a glass of wine or a beer, whatever your preferred libation is, and you're just going to have to plug those in. Check out the QuickBooks app to make sure, but I am 99% sure that they upgraded their app maybe in 2020. It might have been during the pandemic, especially because of what was going on, where you can actually take pictures of receipts and get them imported right into the system. So check that out. All right. Let's see. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Cookie. Thank you very much. Oh, perfect. Yes. Take no nonsense. Just confirm that, Leonard. She uses QuickBooks and it scans the receipts. I knew I heard that somewhere. So that's how you can take care of that. All right. That's how you can take care of that. Awesome. Let me take a look here, see if I've got anything in step 3. This is like the basic setup. Before I do that, I want to make sure I can address it. S-Corp, I got the business bank question. Let me do a quick scan in here to see if there's anything else with regards to communication structure, which is your email, your phone. I did do a whole video on that yesterday. And I thought I saw somebody ask a question about iPage. I'm looking for it, y'all. I'm looking. If you did, I can't really see it in here right now, but if you did ask me a question about iPage, and for some reason I can't see it, but if you did ask me a question about iPage, I addressed a lot of questions about iPage in last week's live. Make sure you watch that. It's on my on YouTube. Check it out. I answer any questions that I had, about iPage. I cannot remember. I just saw the word iPage and can't see where it went at this point. That boy, EJ, don't you need the IRS copy of your EIN number to open your business bank account? Yes, you do. You will have to take the document with you, the one that they email you that has your address on it, and it has your tax ID and EIN. I always save an electronic copy of it, y'all, and I've gotten to the point where I can pull it up on my phone if I need to open up a business bank account, but they will require that. So that's why you have to do the steps in that order, right? You got to get your tax ID and EIN, then you open up the business bank, then you connect your financial software. Those are the 3 steps in order. So they will need that. Oh, Leonard, I think this was your question. iPage charges to build your website, especially if you're adding an e-commerce. Okay, so why do you promote them? Well, I mean, I don't promote them for the website building. I want to be clear. Everybody's going to charge you to build your website. There isn't a a host out there that unless you can tell me and please put it in the chat if that's the case so I can look into it. If there is somebody out there that's absolutely free for website building, because that's somebody I need to bring on CPTV. For real, right? Everybody charges for everything, Leonard, 100%. I promote iPage because, yes, you will pay for a web hosting, and I addressed this last week, so make sure that you check it out. But unlimited free emails when you sign up for web hosting with them, which is like $3 a month, $36 a year, you get a free domain, you get unlimited email addresses. That is priceless, Leonard. That is priceless. When you start adding to your team, you are going to want to give people branded email accounts for you. You're not going to want to hire somebody and give them a Gmail account. That defeats the whole purpose of branding yourself. You're going to have an employee, and when they start with you, they're going to expect you to give them an email address. So I was at a point where I had 12 people, 20 people, 65 people on my team. Can you imagine what I'd be paying if I was going through, Google for Business for every single email address over 2? What I would be paying just to have email addresses for my team? So you really do have to weigh the numbers, but everybody does charge to build a website. I don't know anybody who doesn't do it for free. Okay, so to build a website, a real website, I think that you're going to be paying regardless, right? I think you're going to be paying regardless. So let me know otherwise. All right, let's see what else. So let's talk about step 4, questions about processes. I get questions about business processes all the time. When you're starting up, you still have to do processes. You still have to have processes. As a matter of fact, the most important time in your business journey is when you are creating processes. It's in the very beginning. And that's step 4. You want to create your basic business workflows, processes, your operational process, which includes how you're going to collect money from people for your products and services, and how you're going to keep track of your financials, pay your bills, take care of those expenses. Those are 2 very important processes that I want you to create, right? The third process is your sales process. How are people going to get into your sales process? What does that look like? What are the steps that are involved in selling someone, right? So if you're an e-commerce store, how are they going to get from an opt-in maybe, or an ad, or whatever it is on your Instagram or your social media into your cart? How are they going to get to your store? And then from that store, how are they going to get into your cart? And then once they get into your cart, and they stay in the cart, like me, they just put stuff in the cart and they leave. What is your sales follow-up going to look like, right? Are you just going to leave them to go to the cart and die? You got to think about that, right? Everything in the sales process is going to take 1 to 7 touches for someone to actually make a purchase. Do you have your 7 steps, your 7 touches mapped out so that you can maximize conversion on every single lead? Guys, leads are expensive. Leads are hard to come by. You need to maximize your conversion of those leads. You can't afford as a startup entrepreneur to just have leads coming in and going out. You just can't. If you're paying for Facebook ads, you could have a lead that's costing you $50 or $21. Well, now, the way Facebook ads prices is going, I don't even know what the average lead is going to cost anymore. I mean, back in the day, before there was social media and I had all this free marketing opportunity, I was literally buying leads lists to get 5,000 bad, phone numbers and email addresses might cost me $5,000. I'm not joking. So leads are hard to come by, right? You want to maximize what you can do with those leads. And that includes making sure that there is a smooth, frictionless sales process that they go through so that they very easily can say yes. You want to make your sales process so good that it is a no-brainer that they should buy from you. It is a no-brainer. And I do talk about business. I have a more detailed video on that you guys can check out that's here. But the sales process is the third process that I really want you to think through. Creating the SOP and the step-by-step of what it's going to look like for every single lead once they come into your business, once they are introduced to who you are. And then the last process is your customer service or your service process, all right? And that is also a process that you need to make sure you have set up. What happens once that purchase is made? Once they say yes, it's not over. Once they give you their money, guys, it is not over. It's just the beginning, because they can very easily request a refund or a cancellation, right? So what does your service process look like? What does that look like? That when you're thinking through that service process, when someone purchases and they become a customer, what's the first thing I want them to receive? Is it an email? Is it direct access? Is it a shipping confirmation? Is it, a request to schedule a time for you to come out and do it? Is it, if you're a stylist or, a lash tech or a service provider or whatever, you actually getting them in the chair, like, delivering the product or service that they're about to pay for. So think through what those steps should look like. What would you want your customer service experience to look like as a customer? And make sure that your customers have that exact same experience. It will eliminate refunds and cancellations. And this is also that step where you're figuring out what those are. What is your refund policy? What does your cancellation policy look like? What is your refund process? What does your cancellation process look like? Those are all a part of that overall service model that you really have to think through in step 4. And I know I've got a question that was sent over to me about customer service. So I want to make sure I can answer that. And then I will take a look at what you guys put in the comments. And I'm sorry if I'm rushing. I just, don't want to go too far over, because I know we all got lives and it's going to be dinner time soon. So let's see. The customer service question that I have. Oh, books. I got a question about books. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. This is from She's Coming Through. She's Coming Through. I don't know if you're on right now, but I'm about to answer your question, boo. All right. Thank you so much for this amazing information. Do you have any? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Do you have any suggestions for what customer service hours setup should be for an entrepreneur working a full-time job Monday to Friday? That is a very good question. Recommendations for customer hour service setup. All right. I would have to find out what your service process looks like, right? Because I'm a firm believer that you can mitigate a lot of customer service questions on the back end if you take care of your process on the front end. If you do what you got to do on the front end and you make it as frictionless as possible, you are onboarding people well, they know where they stand, you're answering frequently asked questions, you're giving them all the information, you're less likely to get a bunch of customer service problems on the back end. If you are experiencing a lot of customer service questions, if people are calling you all the time, asking you, emailing you all the time, complaining, all that kind of stuff, and you feel like you're being absorbed and you're swamped by customer service, that is a clear indication to me that your front end is messed up. Your front end is messed up. You haven't spent enough time thinking through what that process is going to look like. The whole purpose for a customer service process is to mitigate your risks. It's to mitigate all of that stuff. So you want to address it. You want to be proactive in your customer service. But if you do have those hours, how will you be capturing that information? So if you're asking me about the hours as it relates to working full-time or part-time, that makes me wonder or feel like you probably have phone customer service. So I would say that if you are having a hard time managing your customer service while you're at work, but you can't really not be open, then set up your customer service hours in a way that allows you to have during your work schedule. So let's say you work, 9 to 5. So in your customer service policy, you can say customer service is available from 8 to 4 via email. And then we have call hours from 7 until 9, right? That's a customer service policy. As long as you communicate that, it allows you to manage your customer service from email, meaning you can be somewhere else. You can multitask that way, especially if it's just you. And then once you get home and you're done, you have to be near your phones if you use phones as a customer service process. I've moved away from using phones as a customer service process, while I still do have a phone number, because I got some clients that just won't not call, just want to call, right? But you can incorporate both of those techniques so that you can have full-fledged customer service hours. And so people know our daytime customer service is by email only. Click help here. Make sure it's also written everywhere. everywhere. How can people talk to you or your team? How can they reach out to you? And make sure that you are pushing that preferred customer service method. So that's the recommendation I would have. Split up your customer service hours into ways that you can manage it as a startup entrepreneur. Sorry, guys. I'm losing my headphones here. You see, I'm getting all energetic and I'm knocking things out my ears. But hopefully you can still hear me because I know how these AirPods work. They start to cut you off when they fall out. But anyway, set up your customer service hours in a way that you can manage it alone. But also set it up in a way that when you grow and you blow up, because you will blow up, right? When you blow up, that you can then, one of the first hires that you're probably going to make as a customer service person. My very first business, my husband was my first customer service person. And I brought him on board because it did get to a point where I was servicing so much, I couldn't sell anymore. I was like, I can't even get any more customers because I'm so bogged down. And he was teaching, he was off over the summer, and I'm like, babe, I really need your help. And he kind of stepped in, and it was an easy transition because I had been doing it and I had set it up in a way where I could just add him to my help@CherylCPerez.com email. That wasn't the email at the time, but help@CherylCPerez.com email. And he was able to log in and see everything. Now, I do use a customer service system right now. That's, I don't even know how much it costs. It's a good startup. I would say it's a good one. It's probably a flagship. It has a lot of different things in it, but I use Freshdesk, and I use Freshdesk to manage, ticketing. It's a ticketing system. If you are a solopreneur, you don't need that right now. I just don't think that you need it. But when you get to a point where you start adding to your team and you want to monitor how quickly people are getting responses, and you have customer service policies, and you've got like a service manual and all that kind of stuff, Freshdesk is one of those great options. So if anybody out there is listening is at that point where you've got customer service people, you might want to look into an actual system that allows you kind of manage all of those things, including the phone calls. You can also call, through Freshdesk. So all the phone calls are recorded and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I love about it is that it will pull, any feedback that you get in DMs, on Instagram, I think Facebook, LinkedIn, and it will create a ticket for them so that your team can address any of those responses and reply to folks that will as well. So that's my feedback on customer service processes. And that's really step 4, guys, right? And step 5 is marketing. This is where the website and content and social media, digital marketing, and understanding your ICA and building an email list. This is where all of that comes into play. That's step 5. And it's actually one of the biggest pieces of the Startup Academy membership program. The video library around marketing is massive in there because obviously the second most important title that you will have as an entrepreneur is CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. You will be the Chief Marketing Officer more often than you will be the Chief Executive Officer. And so if you consider yourself to be an entrepreneur and you don't like to sell and you don't like to market, then entrepreneurship may not be for you. Okay, because that is going to be one of your main jobs. And setting up your marketing is critical. I've got a marketing process for startup entrepreneurs that I absolutely love to recommend. I have a video for that as well. I'll link to it. I'm going to do this for my editing guy because he said I wasn't doing this and it's hard for him to find the cards. And if Team CP is still with us, if you could add that link in there for us to get to that video, basic marketing processes. And mine is, definitely, I'm really social media driven at this. I'm digital marketing driven. I love it. And I've had budgets in past businesses, y'all, that was 6-figure budgets for marketing alone. Back in the day when you was paying for ads and commercials and print ads and newspapers, I'm talking 6 figures for marketing. And just to drive, that's when I realized how much my leads were costing me. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Leads cost money, right? When digital marketing came around and social media and these algorithms, I was like, what? You can grow organically, you can market organically. Like, this is crazy. So if you are not already embracing creating a digital marketing process for your business as a startup entrepreneur, you are already behind the 8 ball. Now, it's step 5. Keep in mind, marketing, website, all that stuff is step 5, because you really, really have to start with step 1. You got to have the mindset, figure out your why, get your time together. You have to do your research, understand your ICA, know your market, because you can't create marketing language without that information. So sometimes people say, I'm going to start my website. And they go right out and they start to work on a website. Because really, truly, we all know you ain't got no business if you ain't got no website, right? But then you get to the point where you're building a website for 6 months. I still ain't got my website. And then when I ask, well, why is it taking 6 months for your website to go up? You know, even if you're building it yourself or if you've hired someone else. I've heard 6 months, 9 months, whether you're outsourcing it or whether you're doing it yourself. The number one reason that I get is because they're still creating the copy and the content to go onto the website. That's the truth, right? You haven't done a photo shoot. You don't have branding colors. You don't have your hex codes. So that's all in step 3, y'all. That's already before this. By the time you get to building your website, you know your language for your ICA, you know who they are, you know what your color should be, you've got your name, you've got your domain, you've got your social media platforms, you've got your social media handles, you've got your processes in place, because your website is not just about being a big brochure. Those are the old school websites. Your website should directly drive sales into your organization. If you don't use your website to sell, you're behind the 8 ball already. Nobody needs a glorified brochure online anymore. You need to be able to have people take action, right? You need to be able to click somewhere, schedule something, go somewhere, getting your email, whatever you're doing, they need to be able to do something. If you have skipped steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can't put that stuff into the website because you don't have the sales process. So you don't have a link. You don't have a calendaring option. You don't have an email follow-up. You don't have a service piece. So they'll never be a customer for you. You don't know your hex codes and your colors. You haven't done your photo shoot. So there's no photography to put up there. You don't know who your ICA is. So you can't create your marketing copy. You don't have any of that stuff, right? You can't explain to people what you do because you haven't figured out your mission and your vision. You don't know what your weaknesses are, your strengths are in order to mitigate them. You can't tell somebody exactly what your purpose is and what makes you different from everybody else because you skipped step number 2, which is doing your research. So yes, the website is critical, but if you're having difficulty getting it done, you probably need to go back a few steps, because if you follow the steps, by the time you get to your website, you can hand over a complete map, wireframe of what you want included. If you hire someone to do your website for you, they are not going to create your copy. They're asking you for that information anyway. You still have to provide that. And there will be a huge delay if you're trying to figure out what you should be saying. By the time you get to your website, all that stuff is done. You should be able to hand your website designer and be like, look, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I wanted to say. I need you to have it back to me in 10 days. Is that good? All right, perfect. When they send it back, here's a list of all the things in every section that I want you to fix, right? Because you know. So I tell you that because I get so many questions on website, why it's taking so long. And generally, your website, while it is a very important step, it's not step 1. You may not be ready for that step right now, right? So you got to go back and make sure you've gotten the other stuff set up in order to do that. All right. So I want to see if any questions. Last one, because marketing is step 5. Step 6, guys, is launching. And I'm going to do a whole separate video series on launching, on the official launch, like how to actually launch and make some money when your business is on the map. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that would be a good one? Because I get a lot of questions about launching. Yes, this will be available for replay. So let me know if you guys think that would be a good one, because I've got so many in the Startup Academy. The launch section is, we go through pre-launch, we create a launch plan, all that kind of good stuff. And that's good content I don't think enough people talk about. So let me know for sure. But I'm going to make sure I got one more question. And this is a big question because I know I've been talking about it a lot. And the big question that I get on here, and I want to word it so I can also give the person props. So make sure that you guys, if you're watching videos, put questions in there, because as you see, I look at these questions, and I'll do another live like this and answer your questions directly and, throw you up there. But I've gotten questions about YouTube and how I upload my videos. If you got questions about that or you want to see something like that, let me know as well. But can you help me, right? Do I offer personal coaching? How can I work with you? Those questions, I got a lot of those. How may I get in contact with you? All right, let me break this down. I absolutely 100% work with entrepreneurs one-on-one. I have a one-on-one coaching program, right? I've got 3 different services, 3 different product types. I've got done-for-you services, so I still have a consulting component to my business. I've had that forever, and those are straight done-for-you. They are very high ticket. If you hire me to do something for you, create a process in your business, do all the stuff that goes along with that, create your SOPs, that's high ticket. And I do it in all areas of business, operations, sales, marketing, all that kind of good stuff. Very high ticket. I have a handful of clients. I only do 5 clients a year in done for you. And done with you is my coaching programs. Those are one-on-one. They involve call every 2 weeks. And in between, you go through video trainings and lessons with me, teaching you how to get the stuff done that we ultimately determine in our calls you need to get done. And then I hold you accountable for what you need to get done. So we ultimately make a list together, we brainstorm, and then we talk, and then I give you a whole video library, a whole video set in order to be able to learn how to get those things done. And then we get together again. I'm like, what'd you get done off the list, right? My coaching program is by application only. And I limit it to 25 entrepreneurs a year. I just upped it. It used to be 20. I just upped it. And it is expensive. It's not cheap. All right. It's not cheap. A lot of times I get the question, how much is it? Let's just say for my businesses that are in the step up phase, they're not starting up. They're already at multiple 6 figures and they're trying to get to 7 figures. For me to do one-on-one coaching with them, it's $1,000 a month. Right, so my 1-year coaching package for startup entrepreneurs runs between $6,000 and $8,000 a year. For step-up entrepreneurs, it runs, right around $12,000 to $15,000 a year, just depending upon where you're at. So it's expensive. All right. If you really want that, and sometimes I run specials and I run deals. So yes, but it's by application only. We will work together one-on-one on building your business and launching it. It's amazing. But like I said, I've been trying to figure out a way to take that one-on-one coaching and make it available to the masses. And that is where I think a lot of startup entrepreneurs are going to fall. And that is becoming a member of the Startup Business Academy. Now, in the Startup Business Academy, it actually is opening up tonight in about an hour. Open enrollment is starting. If you were on the SUA wait list, because a lot of people signed up for the wait list, you already received the email message earlier today for early access to it. So make sure you check your email because you should be able to see it already. But in about 2 hours, if you are already a CP Insider, or if you want more information about it, I'll give you guys the link as well. But if you're a CP Insider, in about 2 hours, I'm going to open up the cart for you and to the public. So on social and marketing and all that kind of good stuff. Startup Academy is amazing because I finally figured out a way to take all the stuff that I do in my one-on-one coaching program and put it into a more cost-effective, more affordable, ongoing membership program. And the program is amazing. You get all of my training videos. Every single training video, there's over 100. You get all the swipe files, the workbooks, the downloadable tools, my email stuff, opt-in pages, marketing stuff. There's a million handouts in there, I feel like, and workbooks. You also get access to an audio library as a bonus. My time management boot camp is in there. And in addition to that, I've added as a bonus, we will do monthly live group Q&A sessions for my Startup Academy members. So I'll be doing this once a month so that I can still get that coaching in there. You'll be able to submit questions in advance and also ask questions on the live. We've got a private Facebook community, CP Nation. It's already been out there, but you will have like-minded entrepreneurs in there with you, and we still get to work together. And right now there's some extra special bonuses going on in the Startup Business Academy. And I'm talking, y'all, I was able to get this price down to something that is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I'm talking about, when I tell you about my coaching program, I'm talking about 10%, less than 10% of what it would normally cost somebody, less than 10%. I was able to get the price down per month to, 5%. So if you want more information, if you are already a CP Insider, meaning you get my email newsletters and you get my emails already, you're going to get an email in a couple of hours. So be on the lookout for that. If you were on the wait list, you already got the email. If you want more information, you can check out the details about the startup membership program at CherylCPerez.com. And Team CP, I'm going to have them put this in here, CherylCPerez.com/SUA info. That's S as in Sam, UA info, INFO. If you go there, you will have access to getting all the details, seeing what's going on. And I think that that's open right now, if I'm correct. I believe that's open right now. And if you're on the CP Insider list, actually in about 30 minutes, you're going to be getting your first email to have access to it. And there is a discount enrollment period. The next 7 days is a discount enrollment period for all of you guys. So it's even further discounted from what the regular price will be. I want as many members as possible because I am ready to get to work. I am ready to teach you the how of all the things that I tell you the what about on YouTube. And this is my blood, sweat, and tears. It's my love that's poured into it. And my goal is to have 1,000 entrepreneurs by this time next year experiencing financial and lifestyle freedom. That's my goal, 1,000 entrepreneurs. And I know if we get 1,000 entrepreneurs in there in the academy over the next year, we will have so many people walking around happier with money and unstressed. And my goal in the Startup Business Academy is to train you through all 6 of those steps. And it is chock full. It is full. I couldn't even believe going through the last 7 days and tweaking things and looking at things. And I kept wanting to add things. And my teams are like, what? Oh, and it's going to be, I'm going to be adding additional trainings every single month. So when you become a member, you will get new training, additional training every single month added to your membership site. You'll get additional video training. It's 100% online. You got 24/7, 365 access to it, y'all. And every single month, I'll be putting more stuff in, more detailed stuff, more intricate stuff, walking people through how to market with video. I've got so many ideas. The content calendar I'm pumped about. And a lot of the questions that you guys have drive the creation of that content. So keep asking. And hopefully that answered your question. That's how you can work with me. I would definitely recommend. Now, if you are a member of the Startup Business Academy, you will have the option to upgrade and to get one-on-one coaching or to add one-on-one coaching. You'll also automatically have access to discounts in my one-on-one coaching. Another thing that I love about this membership program is when you're a member, I always beta group my products and services before I put them out. So if I create a new training, I beta group it. My Startup Academy members will be my beta. So you will have access to being able to enroll. And as I come out with new trainings, you can test them. You can be a part of my group that has access to them automatically. They can give me that feedback. So you'll be the first one to get any new CP training that comes out in my paid program. So that's another benefit of the membership, being a member. And I'm excited. I am excited about growing this. I am excited about giving you guys what you need. And I finally figured out a way to impact so many more of you without you having to pay for or be on a wait list for my one-on-one coaching. So I'm excited. You guys check it out. I want you to let me know. Make sure you check it out. Go to CherylCPerez.com/SUA info. You put your name and email in there and you will automatically get an email message giving you access to checking out the Startup Academy membership program. So hopefully I answered that question for you guys. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm sorry, guys. I was planning to do an hour, but the questions were so good. And, you know, y'all was just staying on and liking. I was getting pumped. So any other questions that you have, please feel free to put them in. I will, again, gather them. Also, feel free to ask me. And you know what? When you become a member of the Startup membership program, Startup Academy membership program, you will be able to send me questions all the time. It is right there in your portal. You click a button, submit a question, I get it. And then when we do our monthly live group coaching Q&A sessions, which will be private, they won't be on YouTube, guys. But when we do those, I will be able to answer your questions. And you can even submit a video question in there, which means I'll probably take your video and, you know, make some stuff with it and answer your question directly. So I am very excited about that. So check it out. Let me know if you have any other questions. It's been an amazing night. Thank you so much, Courtney, Kim, Adi, Outfit, Diamond, Wendy, Eric. Entre Mom. I don't think I said hi to everybody that was here. I wish I could get to more of your questions. I will take these out. I think I've got Team CP moderating. They can pull some of these out and I'll try to get to them. And maybe I'll do another live Q&A to answer some of these questions sometime next month. I'll get myself some more questions up. So make sure you let me know. If we aren't already connected, please go on Instagram. I'm on IG, Cheryl C. Perez. I'm on Facebook at CCP Impact. You can check that out as well. I am also on LinkedIn, Cheryl C. Perez, TikTok, Clubhouse. I think I'm on all of them as Cheryl C. Perez. But please let me know. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video, share this video. Let me know what you need always and forever. And check out the Membership Academy. It could be a perfect fit for what you need. If you want to work directly with me and make it cost effective and you can actually afford it, then the Startup Academy membership is definitely for you. So check it out. Let me know your thoughts. And it has been amazing, guys. Thank you guys so much. Love you too. Love you too. Love you too. Oh, I love that. Thank you. My crown. I'm gonna put that on. And put that on. I always get a question, where's Asher? Asher's always with me, y'all. Here's Asher. There he is. He's always with me. But I really need to keep it real. But I feel so comfortable keeping it real with you guys. I really do. I feel like it's my duty. It's my job. I don't have to tiptoe around. I'm not a tiptoe around things kind of person anyway. But I really, really feel that connection. So I thank you guys so much. Make sure that you subscribe. If you're just joining live and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Check out all the videos and the links that we put in there. I love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And until next time, my loves. Stay safe. Mwah! Bye-bye.